Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my March TBR, so let's just get into it. First up is Vows and Ruins by Helen. This is the second book in the Legends of thezzmar series. I finished the first book and I really liked it. It had a lot of similarities to Fourth Wing, but I still felt like it was different, arguably. I love Fourth Wing, but it doesn't have dragons. This book, Fourth Wing does have dragons, obviously. To my knowledge, maybe they'll get revealed at some point. But I have a sour taste in my mouth of Fourth Wing because of Iron Flame. But I know I loved that book so much, and I'm not ready to say that Blood and Steel was better than Fourth Wing. And I don't know which one came first, to be honest. But I have a feeling it was Fourth Wing. However, I hope that Vows and Ruins, the second book in this series, is better than Iron Flame because I liked a lot of what was going on in Fourth Wing, obviously. And since I have that similarity in Blood and Steel, I would really love if the second book was just as good to me because I gave the first book 4 stars. So I did start the second book. I'm only on like page 8 or something, but I know that a lot is going to be. I'm trying not to give spoilers in this video because I want it to be something that everyone can watch and maybe put stuff on their TBR, which why am I talking about spoilers if I haven't read the book? But I guess I mean like spoilers if I have already read the first book or the second book, which there are a few in this list that are like that. So I just want to learn more about her family because if you read the first book, we know nothing about her family other than she was abandoned. Well, we know about her sister, who's a semi-main character, side character, but we're going to learn more about her family. We're going to learn more about her. We're going to learn about just the stakes are high, like Althea wants to be a war sword. She wants to be a warrior. Women are not allowed to wield weapons. Women are not allowed to be a soldier, be a warrior. And that's kind of explored in the first book. So seeing how she's going to navigate, me trying to explain something without spoiling anything, seeing how she's going to navigate achieving her goals despite the odds, seeing how she's going to be able to handle information as it comes in, seeing how she's going to handle difficult situations, figuring herself out, figuring out her romantic relationship with Wilder Hawthorne. I really liked the spice in the first book. There was a lot of it towards the end, and it didn't feel like too much. It always felt sexy. It always felt intriguing. Like, I really like both of these characters. I love that Althea gets more confident as book 1 goes on. So I just can't wait to see, like, is she going to have a villain era? Is she going to become even more confident, more badass and stronger? And I know that she is. So, and there's like a big reveal at the end of book 1, but then there's also a challenge presented to the main romance, and I already know it's going to be the most amazing juicy tension in book 2, if that makes sense. I hope that wasn't too spoilery, but I'm so excited to dive into it. Next up is the second book in the, can't remember the name of it, but it's A Kingdom This Cursed and Empty. The first book was A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark, and this is going to be hard to describe, but I do like our main character, Priska. I like how Lorien is the main male character. I like how he's possessive. I know some people don't like a possessive male main character, so if you don't, you will not like him. I don't think it's like taboo level. I don't think it's abusive. But it's just something about him. Like, he's just jealous and possessive. So there's a gnat flying around. Don't judge me. But but this book picks up where we left off, and she's going on a journey. She's going to be away from, I don't think this is a spoiler, but she's just going to be away from her friends and family for not forever, but just for a period of time. And I feel like there's a lot of unknowns at the end of book 1. It's not like it's set up a lot to look forward to, in my opinion. Like, unless you're just like intrigued for the sake of being intrigued, which I am intrigued, but more so in the romance, to be honest. I'm not really intrigued with the state of the world and the magic system, which is not really intriguing to me. I don't know. So I feel like I'm reading it more so for the romance because I do like how possessive he is because I feel like there's a good balance with Lorien and the way it's done. But in terms of the conflict, I don't know. But let's just move on. So I want to also get around to the Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I loved From Blood and Ash. I gave it 5 stars. I loved how it started off hot and heavy with the spice, but there still ended up being that subsequent slow burn. I really liked just the discussions of Poppy being the maiden and the bodyguard romance, and I just loved everything about the first book. The second book was a little bit of a letdown for me. There was a lot of traveling. It didn't feel boring though. It just felt different. And then I just didn't like some of the spice in the second book or just like some of the characters. I'm just a very big character person, obviously, because they just are so integral to the story. But yeah, it's just, I know that book 3 starts off with this one character who I thought was a good person, and now I'm just kind of annoyed. And they just seem very wishy washy, flip floppy, and not in a good way. Like, okay, I don't even know if you would say morally gray. It just seems weird. I'm like, where do your loyalties lie? Like, are you a good person or are you not? So that may seem intriguing to a reader, but for me, I'm kind of tired of it because, like I said, it's flip floppy. So I'm like, can we just get rid of you? Like, seriously, because it's not even just like swinging on. It's not just being wish washy. It's like he does some literal bad things, and then wants to. Did I say he? Well, I didn't tell you who, but then he is supposed to be a good guy. Like I'm just, I don't know, but that's kind of frustrating. And there was such a big reveal at the end of book 2 that I did start book 3 immediately right away. But I think that's the problem sometimes. It was just a mood thing. Like I put it down at like 20%. I do want to go back to it. Of course, I want to finish the series, but I have heard some things from other people that the book or that the series gets a little bit long and drawn out. And that's not how I feel yet with book 3. I don't even know what's coming. For all I know, like, it makes sense why there would be 6 books. But for me, I feel like book 3 could probably be the last one. Like, just doing the math on it and the substance that is there. You know what I mean? And I love Poppy and I love the mailman character. I feel like I can't say his name because yeah. But I want to finish it. But it's kind of like low priority right now, I won't lie. Next up is Serpent in the Wings of Night. It is about an adopted human daughter of the Nightborn Vampire King, and her name is Uriah. And she wants to enter the Kajari, which is a tournament held by the goddess of death. And I'm not really sure what the prize is, maybe power. I don't know, actually. And there's a love interest named Rain, and is kind of enemies to lovers, I guess, because he's an enemy to her father's crown. I did start this book. I don't know how far I made it. It was not far at all. But I remember I had trouble getting into it. And I think her dad's name is Victor or something, but it's not her real dad. I don't know. I noticed a lot of similarities to Throne of Glass. Maybe not with the dad part. I can't remember right now exactly. But Selena entering that tournament, in the literal first book, to be the king's assassin, it kind of reminded me of that. And I did hear some people talking about how it is very similar to maybe not even just Throne of Glass, but I heard people drawing comparisons to something that happens in ACOTAR, like just a very similar thing. And so I like I said, one of the books I just mentioned is very similar to Fourth Wing, like quite a few things, but I think I'm hesitant to read a book, I guess knowing it in advance, because I didn't know that about Blood and Steel in advance. But I'm glad I didn't because I liked it anyway, even if there are similarities. So I know I will probably like Serpent in the Wings of Night, even if it does have its similarities. But I wouldn't like it if it's just like a blatant copycat. Nothing about it is different. Like I know it's vampires, it's not fae, but I don't know what's been holding me back. I also heard that there's not a lot of spice at all, if at all, in the first book. I think the second book is where it picks up. So that's another thing for me. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this already. I've recorded this a few times, but House of Earth and Blood was like 800 pages and there was one spicy scene towards the end and it wasn't even that long or detailed, and I still loved it because I didn't even notice. Like I was just so invested in the story. So if the story can hold up, and I think House of Earth and Blood just felt so fresh. Like I had never read an urban fantasy before. There was just so much going on. Like it wasn't it wasn't like anything I've read recently or ever in my personal life. If you know something similar, okay, good for you. But I'm talking about myself. So with this, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to read Throne of Glass or ACOTAR again, you know? Like, so that's my hesitation with it. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys can like convince me to read it. I know it's so popular. So that's why I'm like, why is it so popular? Like something about it must be good. So next up is Book of Azrael by Nicole. This is about our main character Diana, who's reborn after dying to save her sister. Now she serves the king of monsters. Then there's this other guy. I don't know how he's factored into it, but there's this man named Sam Keel, Liam for short. I'm not understanding. Maybe there's a reference I'm not getting. But he is known as the World Ender after the Gods' War. And he denied his crown, abandoned his responsibilities, I guess left everyone behind. But he comes back because there's been an attack on, I guess, the same place that he fled, and he has to go back. I'm not sure how him and Diana meet, but I think that they're enemies. That's what I'm understanding. I've heard that she's badass. I follow Morley Gray K on Instagram, and I get a lot of my recommendations from her page. She really likes adult fantasy romance, which is exactly what I like, and she has to have like a good spice element in her books. So whenever she recommends something, I must read it. Although I have heard from other people, not her, that Book of Azrael is not that spicy and that the second book is maybe more so. I guess that's a typical thing, like especially if you're trying to execute the slow burn. Morley Gray K also loves slow burn. So I'm fine with the slow burn as long as there's like lots of tension and at least like a kiss or like words exchanged. Like I don't need the spice to come right away. Like it can come at the end of the book, it can come the next book, as long as there's enough to keep me satisfied, not just with like the plot and what's going on with the world, but with the connection between the characters and like the teasing. Like that's even better sometimes. So that's what I'm hoping. I think I will definitely circle back to this, maybe even sooner than some of the others for sure. Next up is A Kiss of Iron by Clare Sager. So I started this, something about the writing style, it wasn't working for me, but I started a couple different, like I started Book of Azrael, and it I really liked it. It intrigued me, but it was kind of like laying the groundwork, like talking about the Gods' War, and so that one was kind of bumped down on my TBR list again because actually Blood and Steel won. Like I started Book of Azrael, I started Kiss of Iron, I think just those three. And like I said, Blood and Steel won, and now I'm going on to book 2. But I do want to go back to these books in March. And A Kiss of Iron I liked, but there was just a lot of description about gardening. Like I think the main character likes to garden. I hope that becomes some sort of, I hope it's important to the plot later on. Like I don't know, she plants a poisonous plant or something. I don't know, but in the moment it just felt like it was a lot of talk about vegetables and gardening, and I'm like, what is this? But then it gets intriguing because someone shows up. This is like literally the first chapter, I think, or probably the second chapter. People show up and say, I think there was like outstanding payments on her house or something that she used to live with her ex-husband in, but now she lives alone with her servants. And basically, I guess she negotiates with them to like come up with some sort of payment plan, but it's like ridiculous, like so much money that she has to pay them, every few weeks. I don't know, every few months. I can't remember. So I think she's been robbing people for money, but I guess she's going to have to start like stepping it up because it's crazy how much money she's going to have to start paying. But yeah, it was her estranged ex-husband that left her, I guess. And not even ex-husband. I think it's just her estranged husband. But anyway, I believe she used to be a royal because that's talked about in the very beginning, that she used to be Lady Catherine, and now she's known as Cat. So it's just, we're kind of starting with this mystery, which did intrigue me because I'm like, how did we get here? Like, how were you? What's the deal with your husband? You know, why are you not a royal anymore? Does it have to do with him? Anyway, but the synopsis says that she's offered a job to spy on the Fey Lord, known as the Night Queen's shadow, Bastian Marwood. So apparently she's going to have to, come into contact with him, get information out of him, but I think he wants something to do with her as well. I don't know if it's just romantic or if there's something he's actually trying to like obtain from her, but I just want to circle back to that one. That's another one that Kay recommended and said is spicy. She really likes it. She even recommends the second book. So that's like a green flag to me because, you know, sometimes the second book is a complete flop and it can like totally change your opinion on a series. Next up is A Court of Blood and Bindings. I think this is the first one in the Fae Isles series. I cannot remember the author's name right now, but it is about this main male character who is known as the Silent Death. That's his nickname. And I think it's because when he K-words people, either like he's silent or I think he leaves them silent. I don't know. But he ends up catching our female main character. I guess her name is Emmeline. He ends up catching her wielding forbidden magic and he takes her to the heart of the Fae Isles Crimson Court. And so I'm assuming that she's panicking, thinking that she's going to be punished for her crime, but he actually wants her help against what's known as the Mother. So it kind of reminds me of the Fae Queen Maeve. I never finished Heir of Fire, but I think from what I assumed from that relationship between Rowan and Maeve, like it didn't seem good. Like he was serving her, obviously. I think he was like her right-hand man, but it seemed like there was some resentment there, or like dislike, distaste. So it kind of reminded me of that he wants Emmeline's help against the Mother for what, I don't know. So heard a lot of good things about that one. I think that there's a decent amount of spice from what I've heard. So that's exciting. Then City of Thorns, which is the first in the Demon Queen trials. I forget the author. I will have all the information down below. It is about a Lord of Chaos who is a demon, and he mistakes our female main character for her doppelganger on her birthday. And he basically kidnaps her on her birthday, I guess, and makes her stay in a forbidden city to hunt for her mom's killer. In return, she's going to help him get his vengeance by being his succubus, which that doesn't make sense to me because I had to Google what this was, and I think it's like a sexy demon, like someone who's like not a trophy wife, but just someone who could just be, I guess it's a bit of objectification, like she's just going to be sitting there like alluring and sensual, and I think she's a demon, or maybe she attracts demons. I don't really know. Let's take a look at what Google says. But it says a female demon believed to have sexual intercourse with sleeping men. What? I don't know. It says a demon or supernatural entity in folklore that appears in dreams to seduce men, usually through sexual activity. So, okay, that's a little bit different. So those were like so many different definitions. But I guess it's kind of weird. I don't know. So she's going to be having like sex with people against her will. Like she's just doing this as a job, I guess. Like nothing wrong with being a sex worker, but like I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe it won't go that far. Maybe it's going to be like Gone Girl tease, like where she gets him all excited and then boom. Like maybe that's how she's going to help him get his vengeance by like K-wording these awful guys who think that they're going to like have one night with this beautiful woman and they were wrong. That's what I hope it is. But I just hope that she's not like doing things against her will. But yeah, they're going there to hunt for her mom's killer. But I guess another thing that's mentioned in the synopsis is that this Lord of Chaos is the number one suspect. And I'm like, what? That's a very intriguing synopsis. Almost like a little too much information. Like I'm like, is that a spoiler? But probably not if it was in the synopsis. But I'm assuming he's not actually responsible for her mother's death, but who knows? Like I don't know if her mother was a good person. We don't know what's going on here, but I'm intrigued. So those are all the books that I want to get to in March. I don't know if I will be able to, but it's a little bit of a longer month than February, and I'm committed to trying. So I hope I'll be able to do like a TBR update, or if not, I'll just do a review video, maybe of the ones that I want to talk about or the ones that I actually got to. But Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed. Check my link tree down below. It'll have the links to my Bookstagram that I just created, my Goodreads, and something else that I can't remember right now. Maybe my Amazon storefront, but I don't have much on there. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what's on your March TBR list, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.